Hello and welcome to Psychology in Seattle. I'm your host, Kirk Honda, licensed therapist.
And I'm Humberto Castañeda, and I arrange flowers.
You can email us at contact@psychologyinseattle.com. That's contact@psychologyinseattle.com. You can also visit our website, psychologyinseattle.com. And you can go to the Support Us page and learn how to support us.
Money.
With money, perhaps, and other
ways.
sorts of ways, yeah. Today we have a special guest with us today, Janice Murphy. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yay!
Hi, I'm Janice Murphy. I'm a licensed counselor and also a yoga therapist.
Janice emailed me because she was a listener, or is a listener, to the podcast.
It's true.
And we went back and forth over email, and it was discovered that you are a yoga therapist. And I've been wanting to have an episode on yoga therapy for a while, so we invited you on the show. And the first thing that you did was that you did an assessment with Humberto. Humberto, you drove down to Olympia.
I did.
For those of you outside of Seattle, that's south of Seattle, Olympia, the capital of our state, Washington.
It was a beautiful drive, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you went down to Janice and you did an evaluation.
Yes.
And an interview, and now
she
we're
asked
having...
me very, very personal questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's very
He answered
uncomfortable.
all of them and more.
He answered all.
All of them.
She couldn't get me to shut up.
So today you're going to demonstrate yoga therapy and talk a little bit about it. Is that right?
Right.
Great. So can you sum up yoga therapy in one or two sentences?
Yoga therapy is actually applying yoga practices for the purposes of health and healing.
What sort of professionals practice yoga therapy?
Well, you have to have a 300-hour certification in yoga therapy. Most people that are yoga therapists are also yoga teachers,
Okay.
but oftentimes they're counselors, massage therapists, doctors, acupuncturists.
Okay.
I happen to be a yoga teacher and a counselor and a yoga therapist.
Okay.
So.
You don't have to be a doctor or a counselor.
No.
Okay.
I think they're trying to change the standards now so that you have to be a yoga teacher before you're a yoga therapist. But when I did my training in 2008, you could just get a certification in yoga therapy.
What's the organization called?
Well, there's like lots of places that offer yoga therapy certification, and then they are registered or I guess acknowledged by the International Association for Yoga Therapy.
Do they have rivalries, like where, like in the movie Dragon, where like you're teaching it the wrong way, you need to
Yeah.
like have a yoga off with someone?
My ashram's better than your ashram.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we recycle more than you do.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we compost the, yeah.
That's right.
It's like that.
I'm so much more vegan than you.
That's right.
I could vegan your ass off. Okay, so you're a counselor
Right.
and a master's level counselor.
Yes.
Right. An LMFT or LMHC.
LMHC.
You're LMHC. So you're about to get your PhD in counseling education
Right.
and also a yoga instructor.
Right. Well, I'm actually teaching any yoga classes at the moment, but when I did teach yoga classes, I found that people that came to me as a yoga teacher wanted me for a yoga teacher, and people that come to me for counseling want me for a counselor. The two have never really crossed. So I tend to, when I am working as a counselor, people know that I also teach yoga, and so if they express an interest in it, I will let them know that I'm also a yoga therapist, and then usually from there we'll do things based on what they're coming to see me for.
So you might have a client who comes to you for anxiety, and then over time they go, "Oh, you're a yoga instructor. Do you ever, recommend yoga poses for people with anxiety?" You know, actually, I'm a yoga
Yeah.
therapist. Let me talk with you about that. You might do a little assessment,
Right.
and then you would recommend some poses that would help them in addition to the counseling that you're doing. Would you demonstrate the poses in the office, or would you do something different than that?
One of two things. I usually have a book right next to me called Yoga as Medicine, and so I usually go through that with them and see what of those things are of interest to them, and if they find one thing that's particularly of interest and they don't know how to do it, I'll usually do that pose with them.
I think as yoga becomes more and more popular, as it does every day, it seems. At first it seemed like it was just going to be a fad in the mid-aughts.
Yeah.
But it's definitely taking off. Even Berto's going to hot yoga.
Even.
So it seems like as that becomes more popular and therapy becomes more popular, that yoga therapy will become more popular. And so maybe in 10, 20 years, everyone will know what yoga therapy is, whereas today, I don't know if a lot of people know.
Kind of like, what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you wanted to present the results of your assessment of him. Is
Right.
that, could you want to start with that?
Sure.
All right, so what happens is that there were a lot of these questions, they're different from, there were some similarities to some of the like personality test stuff that I've taken recently due to someone forcing me to do that. Like, what's your sleep pattern like? And that was an interesting one for me because I actually have a pretty discombobulated sleep pattern. And I will stay up too late. I will fall asleep in my couch and wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and then amble off to bed and then have really crappy last few hours of sleep. Or I will stay up all the way till 7 a.m. and then try to cram sleep. So that is actually an ongoing theme for me.
Okay. So it's a common thing for a yoga therapist to want to know that information before starting treatment.
Yeah, I want to know everything about their lifestyle.
Like you asked me some stuff, even just you asked me to walk around the room, for example.
Yep.
And then you looked at my tongue.
I did.
Because can you talk a little bit about the types of things that you look in the tongue?
Sure. Yeah, with a tongue analysis, it's like a daily. It's kind of like you get up in the morning and you brush your teeth. Like you get up in the morning and you check your tongue to just see how your overall health is. Your tongue is about part of your digestive system, and so I'm looking to see whether or not there's white coating on the tongue or if there's cracks in the tongue. Looking to see just, usually you want your tongue to be nice and pink, free of any...
Like a baby.
Like a baby, exactly. So what I came up with for you is because you told me that the main things you have going on is some stomach acidity, general stress, and then that you worry a lot, and that a lot of people don't know that about
That's
you.
true. Yeah, internal
Yeah.
worrying.
Yeah.
I'm worried.
Yeah, so I came up with some, just because it's about stomach acidity, I came up with some nutrition, just suggestions that you might want to start incorporating into your daily life. And then I came up with a morning yoga practice for you that is more about what's called pranayama. Pranayama is a practice of training or moving muscles to train your breath. And it's very calming, and so I came up with that for you to help you with your worry and your stress. And then I came up with a very short evening yoga practice for you. And I thought that it would be ideal for you to do it in the evening because you talked about getting really tired and then falling asleep on the couch. And I thought that maybe doing that yoga practice before you get to that point might help you have a more balanced sleep pattern, or it might support that.
Great. So can we do the morning one first?
Yes, we can.
All right.
Yeah. You want to take a teaspoon. You can buy aloe that's liquid at a health food store. And you want to take a teaspoon of that with water or juice if you don't like the taste of it.
Okay.
And that helps with stomach acidity.
Okay. So
Yes.
start with that.
Start with that.
All right.
Yeah, or do it after the yoga practice. So with alternate nostril breathing, you're actually breathing outside one nostril and then the other. So it looks kind of weird, but what it does is, according to yogis, your spine is like the central channel, and when you breathe out one side and then the other, it's like you're balancing the prana or the energy in your body, which yogis see the spirituality like it's a map of the nervous system. Does that make sense? And so doing this helps to balance the brain and balance both sides of the body and has a very calming effect. It looks a little strange and it's kind of weird to do it at first, but what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you breathe, and I'm going to do it with you. I'm going to have you breathe up the right side for 8 counts, and then switch to the other side and breathe down.
Breathe in and out through the right?
You'll breathe in, and then you'll switch, and then you'll breathe out. So I'll do it with you so that you can see me doing it. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to inhale, and then exhale, switch, and breathe down the left. And then inhale up the left. And then exhale, switch, breathe down the right.
Yeah, it was oddly soothing. Maybe it's because of the fact that you're just focused on something.
Do people get to the point where they can do it without their fingers?
I think actually, well, my yoga teachers had us practice doing that after we would do this for a couple minutes, and then we would practice just breathing up one side and down. It's just using our intention. I don't know
I don't
that
think
I
it
actually
works.
did it. There's actually something too, like yogis talk about nostril dominance. Apparently, our nostrils have dominance from one side or the other throughout the day. And so if your right side is more open, it's like you're more receptive to the world, and if your left side is more open, you're more into like teaching or telling other people what to do. Or
Okay, great.
And so the next one is called Brahmari breath or
Brahm.
bee breath. And the reason it's called bee breath is because it sounds a little bit like a bee humming. I recommended this because you talked to me about feeling worried a lot. And bee breath, you can do it, it's an informal practice, so you can do it anytime when you're worried, but it's also a good practice just to start your day with. Like that, yeah, but your mouth's closed and you're making it more internally. Do you want me to demonstrate?
Yes,
And then-
please.
Okay, so. You just do that till you run out of breath.
So I gotta like put warning signs around when I'm doing this because if people see me doing it, they're like, "Are you okay, dude?"
I'm sorry.
Hey, laughter is the best yogi medicine.
Okay.
Hey, you're doing good.
What, do I do cycles of that? Obviously, I run out of
I
breath.
have people do a round of 3. There's also one more way that you can do it,
Mhm.
which is a little stranger, but
Oh, wow. Okay.
if you can believe that. And so you put your hands like this on your face. And so then as you're doing it, you make that E sound and it just gets you more into your more internal place.
Oh, wow. I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, how do I release out of it? Because I start running out of air, and then I start getting self-conscious about the fact that I'm running out
Well,
of air.
just release when you like.
So I just
yeah.
like don't let it go that far, right?
Yeah.
Just like release.
So
Okay.
the thing is that this is for worry, and
Right.
so if you're worried that you're running out
Right,
of air,
right.
you've gone too far into it.
And then just breathe naturally, and then do it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to try it one more time?
Sure. Yeah.
All
yeah.
right, try it with you.
So. Man, that takes practice. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the night routine.
Sure.
Just wherever your hand goes comfortably, and you're going to extend through your top arm and turn your palm to face towards me. Yeah, good. But the most benefit you're going to get is even just doing it without the arms.
I see.
Just
okay.
because what you're trying to do is just get more lengthening through your core on both sides. Can you press into your heels and your big toe and then lift up through the arch of your foot?
Lift up through the arch.
Just
of my...
imagine
Oh, I
it.
see. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, that does help.
Kind of like you have a little marble on the arch
Yeah.
of your foot. Good.
That's interesting. I never tried that.
All right. So then what would I do?
Okay, so the next move is called extended side lateral angle. Over. Uh-huh.
Okay. I
Yeah.
feel this feels tight here.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, it feels okay.
Yeah. Okay. And what effort would you say you're giving this right now? Like 50%, 100%?
No. I mean, I'm trying. No, it's not like I'm not like, oh God.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus. This is a good like 50%. I think.
Okay.
You know.
Good.
I think.
You don't want to go more than 70% since yoga therapy
If
is
I were
supposed to
lighter-
be therapeutic.
Right.
Yeah.
If I were
so
lighter, my knee wouldn't feel
just
so
make
much
sure
pressure.
you're not pushing
That's it.
yourself.
I'm assuming it's to get comfortable with the position.
Yeah.
Not to get like hard. It shouldn't be hard, right?
Yeah, when I teach a class, I don't like to see people like pushing or forcing themselves into it because really what you want to be using in yoga is your own structure. So that you don't want to force your muscles or force your ligaments into doing things. So and that's different from what Iyengar teachers taught originally back in the day was they would teach to hyperextend the joints, and what we found from Western medicine over time is that causes repetitive injuries from yoga, and so try to combine the Eastern and Western. And actually now Iyengar and his daughter both say to soften the joints.
So just to review, you chose these different poses for him to do in the evening
Yes.
in response to the presentation that he gave you in the assessment
Right.
and the ways he answered the questions and so forth.
Yeah.
So can you give some of the thinking behind it? I'm assuming that you wouldn't give these poses to everyone, that there's different poses for different sorts of things. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah, I mean, so one of the things that you want to do when somebody comes in and says, I have something going on with my stomach, or I have stomach acidity, as a yoga therapist, I'm thinking, what's going on with that? And what I know from yoga therapy is that oftentimes that's, your diet, or it's because of malabsorption issues. And so I'm trying to give Umberto a practice that's going to help support him if he decides to start making some changes in his diets, and that are going to be appropriate for relieving stomach acidity. And so
This is actually a combination of recommendations for my Iyengar and then some recommendations that I just looked up to see what specific yoga poses are good. And there's many. There's like 15 of them. And I just wanted to give him something that he could do that was easy to put into his life. And so in general, standing poses that open up the side body and back bends are good for people that have stomach acidity.
So were there other nighttime exercises?
Yes.
Okay.
There's more.
Okay. And then I wanna.
Yep, palm up.
Oh,
There you go.
wow.
Great. Yeah.
This is great.
Uh-huh.
So that one's good for balance, I'm sure.
Balance, yeah, and then strengthening
The core.
the sides of your core.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, I forgot.
And again, this is supposed to help with anxiety and gastric reflex.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
How is
And also
your,
calming
You do
myself
it.
down towards the evening, right? So that I
Right.
can get better ready to go to sleep.
Right.
is that a problem for you?
What?
Is that a problem for you at night?
Yes, I never want the day to end.
Yeah.
So this will put me to sleep. All right.
Yeah, and then so the last two are back bends.
Okay.
And I just want to make sure that you haven't just eaten a big meal. Are you okay with
I
that?
had dinner,
Okay. How long ago?
but no, but these carpets clean up pretty well.
Good. And you're going to exhale and then release.
Then I have to bend further.
Yeah. So make sure you're breathing in as you go into it.
Ow, my knee. My right knee hurts. I'm getting old, so what can I say? Here, let me try with the toes.
Can we edit that part out?
No! That's some of the best stuff. Like, you know? Oh, I see.
This yoga therapist hurt me.
No. Because the point is that I'm going slowly. And I'm being aware
Actually,
of
let's
my...
try something. Why don't,
So yoga therapy shouldn't hurt. Is
no,
that
it should
Yes,
not
it should
hurt.
hurt.
so? If there's pain, people should try something else.
Right.
Mostly it's my feet, my toes.
Your feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when I go like
Okay,
this...
well, let's try a different one because there's lots of different ways to backbend, and usually there's one. I mean, this one's challenging for me for
Right.
different reasons because of my neck, and it
Right.
sounds like it's challenging for you
Okay.
because of maybe tightness in the
Right.
legs, and that's okay. I mean, you don't have to.
Mhm.
You know, if you're not gonna actually do it, I don't want you to.
Right.
It's interesting because the times that I've done yoga, there have been poses that I like more than others.
Uh-huh.
So hearing your approach to this is very liberating. It's like you could stand up in a yoga class and say, I don't like this pose, this hurts, or my body just isn't
Uh-huh.
made for this, and you're like tailoring it
Yeah.
specifically for him, and you're saying, hey,
Yeah.
if that one hurts, let's do something else.
Yeah, I really want students to pay attention and listen to their bodies because that's going to reduce injury. And if they're reporting back to me and able to say this hurts, then I can either find a modification or just, give them permission to, just wait until the next pose.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But I imagine that a lot of people feel competitive or they feel
Oh, yeah.
ashamed if they can't move in a particular
I
way.
am very ashamed right now.
So, I imagine that you might have to talk with people in the beginning and say, hey, or you even said it, you say, that one doesn't look very comfortable to you. Is that
Yeah,
comfortable?
he looked like he was really straining. Bring your hips up so that your quadriceps are even,
Right.
and then you're lengthening through your core. Yeah, just when you go out, you want to think about pressing up through your heels.
Oh, I see.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that
Yeah.
does make a difference.
Yeah.
It's funny. This is the
Uh-huh.
second time you've mentioned something about the feet and like what you do with the feet.
It's all about the feet.
This one is key
Yeah.
because as soon
Yeah.
as I press with my heels,
Uh-huh.
now, okay, my glutes are a little bit engaged, but mostly it's my
just
quads.
keep trying to release them because that's going to help you open up your
Oh, yeah, like
flexors. Uh-huh.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Uh-huh. And as you inhale, you're pressing into your palms and your heels as you're lifting up through your rib cage. It's also good not to
Heels.
talk like I am, so that there's no pressure on the head at all.
It's funny. Oh, that might work.
That's all I'm looking for right there. It's just you to get, because you just want to get a back bend through your thoracic curve. Perfect, yes, that's it.
I see. Okay,
Okay,
that makes more sense.
okay. So what I would have you do to end is it's always good at the end of a yoga practice to do something that's relaxing, and I usually recommend that people do a self-massage. I don't know exactly the reason why, but yogis think it's really
We're gonna have to
important.
cut this part.
It's not what you're thinking. And it's going to take...
Well, like shampooing.
Yeah, like you're shampooing.
All right.
Yes, exactly. And make sure the very top, because that's considered your crown chakra, is really good.
If I find lice, do I like remove them? Or?
And then you want to move down to just massaging your ears.
never massaged my ears.
You're gonna massage your ears, and then you're gonna bring your hands to
It
your.
feels nice actually.
There's a lot of nerve endings in the ears.
do
That
that on
makes
a regular
sense.
basis. You might have to cut it. Okay, and then my
And then
shoulders.
Massaging your shoulders, yeah.
Okay.
Massage the back of
And just
your body, your back, just as much as you can. And sometimes when I do this with students, I make them make hot noises, like, so it's relaxing, but up to you to do that. Good, and then you're gonna do some cupping down the arms.
cupping down. What does that do?
Cupping is, it's just stimulating to the skin,
Okay.
so it's just good to, since everything about yoga is about the nervous system, just anything that moves the body in a different way. And
see.
then you're gonna do the other side. Good. And then you're gonna just massage the hand, palm.
Okay.
Chin. And then work down to your feet.
Isn't that great?
We have to have a new episode on a new fetish here.
It's a new way of applauding.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yay, bravo! Fantastic.
Yeah.
This is really good. Okay.
Good.
I could see how that would help calm and stretch. And so at this point in the evening, I would like start drinking heavily and stay up all night, right? That's the, is that not part of the, oh,
It's not typically recommended in yoga,
Okay,
but
got it.
it's your choice.
got it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hurt. What you're saying is it doesn't hurt.
Well, doing this yoga first probably would create more consciousness in your eating and drinking.
Like these things matter, right? These physical things. So I think that in neglecting that angle, you might miss out on a lot of the root causes, or at least related causes, for what people deal with mentally.
Right. I mean, one of the things that I learn more and more as I grow older is the fact that Americans de-emphasize the body and the physicality of our lives and of our well-being. And, you imagine someone's anxious and they have a lot of stress and they're sitting crunched over in a chair all day long, not eating right, drinking lots of coffee, not breathing right, not getting good enough sleep, and they're wondering why they have so much stress and why things are going so poorly for them. And then they go to a therapist, and then they just do more crunching over, talking the whole time, and never addressing the body and never having a practice that involves body well-being. All right, Jess, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah,
It was
you're
a
welcome.
really interesting episode. I'm really glad you came down. Thanks for joining us.
Cool, yeah, you're welcome.
And I finally understand why he was so able to fight as he did in the, what was it, episode 2, was it? Right?
Yeah.
Because I always thought, he was so little and green and like old and crunched over. But he must have been limber enough to jump around with the lightsaber and stuff. So this actually has helped me understand better.
It's not Yoda therapy, it's yoga therapy.
Oh.
All right, well, that does it for another episode of Psychology in Seattle. Thanks for joining us, and please take care of yourself.
Bye.
Bye.
Any last questions?
So how does one do a yoga flame?
A yoga flame.
Yeah, like where there's this,
Like in the video games when you yoga flame someone?
yeah, Street Fighter. Have you seen this? Have
I
you
don't
read
play
this?
video games, I don't know what you're talking about.
What? It's the yogi. He goes like this and like flames come out of his hands.
It's flame, really?
You don't teach this?
No.
I was only doing this because I thought we were gonna do the flames.